The following contest is a singles match scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, from Houston, Texas, the superstar, Miranda Alize.
James Alize successful in her primetime live debut against Christy Janes out of Brazil. It's a hard-hitting, striking matchup, and Alize impressive in victory.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was incredibly impressed with what I saw from Alize, and she's going to look to build on it with a big-time win over Heather Monroe here if she can get it done. I mean, that would make her 2-0 on primetime live against two big-time opponents.
Alize, Blake, a great striker, including that running knee, the shining wizard that she calls the drive-by.
She has hands, feet, and knees on her that are all very dangerous weapons.
And introducing her opponent, being accompanied to the ring by Halston Body, she is the Killer Bay, Heather Monroe.
Fans of championship wrestling from Hollywood will just be happy to see that Heather Monroe found her way out of that Halston body bag match. She was involved in a match with Ruby Reyes this past weekend on Championship Wrestling from Halloween. What a hard-hitting affair that was. But here in Primetime Live, the Killer Bay, 1-1's got a victory over Elena Black, and of course that loss back week 1 against the Brick House Camille, but Heather Monroe stock really rose in that matchup as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it went down as a loss in the proverbial box score, but, you know, if she takes that as a learning experience, because she really pushed Camille, and I think she turned a lot of heads, that Heather Monroe, she is a force to be reckoned with.
Something interesting you guys mentioned is that Heather Monroe just had a match with Ruby Reyes. Ruby Reyes and Alize have significantly different styles of wrestling and body types. So Heather Monroe's gonna have to have a completely different game plan to come in here and score the victory over Alize.
Alize messing with the hair there. That's not gonna sit well with the Killer Bay. She doesn't like to play games. Breaking down the leg now, and turnabout's fair play.
She did it to me, it's only fair.
Drop toe hold now by Alize, but you're right. Alize may be a little more similar in size and stature and style to Elena Black, who Heather Monroe faced last time out. Here on Primetime Live, should be a good one. Both come in with a great camp, and we often talk about training, how important it is. Heather Monroe, the Killer Bay, out of the famed Santino Brothers Academy here in Southern California, and Ruby Reyes herself came from there. And then on the flip side, with Miranda Alize, trained originally by Booker T, Reality of Wrestling, Houston, Texas, now has been training south of the border with the Luchadors at Tijuana, so really well-versed in many styles are both.
You bring up a great point that they both come from great teams. Most people don't realize this, but wrestling is a team sport because you're as good as your team prepares you to be once you get inside the ring. Yeah, you're in there by yourself, but your team prepares you. So it's very important to note that both these girls come from fantastic background and teams.
Now you see a little of that lucha, you know, that Heather Monroe would have learned, and now the bypass comes up with the arm drag again. It's the first time in quite a while that we've seen this much lucha out of the Killer Bay. The leg sweep goes immediately for the cover. Leg sweep the other way. So they're going to play the lucha game in the early going here. Alize upstairs and turns it into a magistral cradle into the cover. Count it 2.
Those are some beautiful technical transitions by both these ladies, particularly Alize. She's small and very nimble and able to use her agility to pull some fantastic throws.
Nice wrist control on that takedown by Alize. Now goes upstairs, gets all of the head scissors takedown, I think that she wanted earlier, although earlier she did call the audible.
Alize is feeling it right now. She's got Heather Monroe in the corner, maybe looking for a monkey flip, but Heather Monroe had it scouted. And you talk about the training of both these ladies. The X factor I see on the outside is that lethal accessory Halston Body. You know, he's going to try and figure himself into this match at some point.
That's a great point that you make because we have seen him time and time again find little places for him to sneak himself into the match and have a big impact. And we saw that with Elena Black.
Big shot there by Heather Monroe. Yeah, Halston, we'll see if he becomes a factor. Saying my rules, my home, and Heather Monroe now going for the cover, center of the ring, and women's division action. since week 1. That match we talked about with Heather and Camille, Thunder Rosa and her defenses ultimately losing the title to Serena Deeb, and all the great female competition we've seen has truly been a fixture here on Primetime Live, and we want you to weigh in. If you're liking what you see, hashtag Primetime Live, join the chat. Suplex by the Killer Bay.
Yeah, you talk about the women's division here on Primetime Live. The phrase that comes to my mind every week, cover, top tier. And that's what we've seen week in and week out from these ladies, and they continue to impress. Alize and Heather Monroe, whoever wins this match, they are just poised to catapult themselves even further into the division. Stiff shot there from Monroe, and she's got Alize at her mercy in the corner.
Something worth noting is once Heather Monroe lands an attack or something, she takes a second and kind of admires her work. Right now it's working just fine for her, but that's a small window of time that Alize could potentially use to counter.
And Alize did just there, got out of harm's way, had that well scouted. Heather Monroe loves to follow up with the acceleration, using her body in the corner, press the offense, and Alize was wise to it, had it scouted, kicks the leg and the rug out from under the Killer Bay.
Woo! Thank you for calling Car Shield. This is the Nature Boy. How may I help you? I feel at home working with Car Shield. Nice spreadsheet. Oh, woo! People say, Rick, you're an icon, the 16-time world champ. What brought you here? I say Car Shield administrators help save customers over $1 billion. And Slick Rick loves saving money. Woo! Car Shield cars go farther. Woo!
Alize needs to be careful who gets behind her. She cannot turn her back on House of Bodie. House will make her pay for that.
Oh, and Alize having a little, taking some time to enjoy her work as well, celebrate a little bit, perhaps prematurely, but man, really working over the arm.
Yeah, I think Alize saw something when she scored on Monroe. She went to the outside. Monroe immediately favoring that right arm, that right shoulder, and now Alize zeroing in on it.
So as I mentioned, where Heather takes a second, sometimes admires her work, Alize stays attached. She did 3 arm snaps, put her face down, and then stomped the shoulder. These chaining together of attacks, I think, is what's going to start giving Alize the ability to get ahead.
Superstar is relentless with this attack. And going back to the air again, saying having her way with the Killer Bay right now, trying to make a statement. There's big time bragging rights on the line here. Eventual United Women's Championship at play at some point as well. So important battle in the pecking order. And biting now is Alize. I mean, just digging deep into the playbook.
I think Alize's doing a lot of different things. These noogies, the biting, to start getting Heather Monroe emotional. If you can get somebody emotional, you can typically get them to make poor decisions inside the ring. Let's see if Heather's going to start doing that, or if she's going to fight, biting again.
Finger foods, I guess. But man, really wrenching on the shoulder, and now shot after shot. And a lot of nerve endings there in the shoulder.
So Alize's doing a fantastic job. She kept her knee on Heather's back, keeping her stuck to the mat so she could continue to land those ground and pound shots to the shoulder.
Official Nick Bonanno, allowing some leniency because it's a hotly contested women's division matchup. But man, just a real bona fide mean streak here in the superstar Miranda Alize. When she was aggressive against Christy James, but this is another level. Into the cover, goes ahead to Monroe, and now catches her right into a submission, position to submission, and all kinds of locked up right now.
Tables have turned in an instant for Heather Monroe and Miranda Alize. Now Alize fighting again, and she goes right back to work on that arm.
What high-level transitions by both girls. The fluidity that you saw Heather Monroe do that attack and then slip into the submission. Then Alize slip out of the submission and land some striking attacks of her own. Incredible submission grappling by both ladies.
Again, with the news of an upcoming United Women's title, the NWA World Women's title changing hands on this program. I mean, it's been high-profile stuff. So a win here is extremely important. But I mean, gosh, this arm after this attack, I gotta believe, is just going to be almost useless for the Killer Bay.
Yes, not only is Heather's right arm going to be the ability to attack significantly reduced, but the ability to defend, that is basically just becomes a target and a useless weapon. You know, right now she's throwing some shots with it, but you can see Alize's not really hurt by those strikes. We're starting to see that damage add up. Heather Monroe's able to get her body behind that last strike, though, put Alize down.
Sacrifice play with the clothesline. Here's something else that you got to keep in mind, gentlemen. As Heather Monroe using extremities that haven't been taken to task, Heather Monroe, as she goes for the senton and lands, she has to drop levels and use that upper body for the bad Bichinoku driver. I don't know that she's going to have the strength in that arm and shoulder to do that as she now ties up Alize, perhaps going to think 7-year stretch, but stomps her face first instead.
That might have been the play that Alize came in thinking that, you know, if I take that arm away from her, she won't be able to use her biggest weapon. Cover here from Heather Monroe, too. Alize able to stay alive in this matchup. Heather Monroe just racked in pain, still trying to get the feeling back in that arm.
You can see Alize feeling her face. That big stomp, a big thing we say in fighting is you make your opponent taste their blood and they want to go home. Let's see how she reacts to this, because she just got her face stomped through the mat. Let's see how bad she still wants to fight.
Going for it. Again, well scouted is Alize when it comes to the offensive playbook of the Killer Bay ripcord. Again, holding on to that shoulder. Fireman's carry position. Just stringing together the offense. Might be time for the drive-by. No, elects for the drop kick instead. Calling the change-up, throwing the change-up pitch into the cover. Hooks the arm. Close. Very, very close.
Fantastic agility. She is so nimble. The way that she can just throw knees, strikes, bounce off the ropes, and come flying back with something. Incredible barrage of attacks by Alize.
Looks like that taste of her own blood might have just spurred her on. Not really surprised, because Alize, she is as rough and tumble as they come.
Well, she's trained by Booker T. That does not surprise me at all. Booker T is one of the baddest dudes around.
Look out here. Oh, was thinking pitch breaker. Didn't catch it. Now a cutter the other way by Alize. Scrambles into the cover. Sense of urgency. And another near fall. And now right into the armbar. And after all that residual damage, might be coming close to a submission victory here. Ooh, turns the weight in, though. Nice counter by the Killer Bay.
That was very smart to go for that pin there, because that arm was deep inside the armbar.
Pulling out all the stomps, you might say, James Kincaid.
Well, you know, going back to that cover, when Heather Monroe got the shoulder up, it just left that right arm exposed. Tremendous strategy from Alize. She is zeroed in on it.
And this is big sprint. There it is. Bad Bichinoku driver. 1, 2, 3.
Here is your winner, Heather Monroe.
I gotta say, TK, that might be the first time I haven't seen Houston Bodie put his hands inside the match.
Well, I mean, Heather Monroe, I think, came here with something to prove. I mean, there was a lot of talk between these two coming in, social media. Here you see the skills on display, the snap suplex, caught her, and really sacrifice play with all that pain that shoulder endured. Heather Monroe had to fight, had to earn this win.
Incredibly impressive effort. You see her still favoring that arm. But yeah, what a tremendous job by Heather Monroe. Didn't need the X factor in Halston body. She did this on her own. She should be dang proud of her effort tonight on #PrimeTime Live.
I think it's worth noting the effectiveness of that bad Michinoku driver is due to her immediately going for the pin. She doesn't waste any time. As soon as they hit, she has that leg wrapped up and got the pin. And worked again for her tonight here on PrimeTime Live.